Hello, and welcome to another episode of AppSec Decoded. I'm Andrew Burton, security advocate at Black Duck, and I'm here today with my colleague Corey Hamilton. Corey is the principal researcher on our latest embedded software quality report. How's it going today, Corey?
Good. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm good. Can you give us a quick overview of some of the key findings in the report?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of great findings in this report. Again, we went out, we talked to professionals working with embedded software, and especially on the development side. And, I think a couple of the main findings, first off, was the very widespread use of AI across all the industries we talked with, which is no surprise, of course. I mean, we know AI is everywhere today, but this is an area, embedded software, that we generally consider to be more risk averse. So, given that there was that level of adoption even among these participants was a little bit surprising. Um, However, what we found is that while the usage is widespread, we actually found that a fair number of businesses, about 21%, weren't totally confident in their ability to mitigate the risks that come with that AI usage. So really important finding there for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the main concerns regarding the use of AI in embedded software development?
Yeah, I think there are two things that really popped up. One of them is something that we've been calling shadow AI, right? And this is while AI usage is widely adopted, a lot of great benefits come from it, right? These organizations are getting a lot of benefits in terms of productivity and development velocity. However, what we found is that about a quarter of these businesses, these organizations, actually prohibit the use of AI. However, among those 25%, about 70% of them acknowledge that the AI is still being used. So AI coding assistants against policy are being used in these businesses. And that certainly brings up a huge blind spot and a lot of potential for increased risk. I would say the other area that popped up, though, or the other main area of concern that we see is even when you do know that AI is being used, and maybe it's even being used with improper policies, if you're using things like AI coding assistants, these tools generally get their code and the data that they use from publicly available sources, right? So a lot of open source software could be something like a Stack Overflow where they're pulling down a code snippet. And studies have shown that lots of times these code samples will actually have major vulnerabilities or major defects in them. And about 30 to 35% of the time, the tool will just repurpose it and they'll give you that code with the vulnerability still intact. And you need to understand that, that's a potential risk that you need to make sure that you're testing for and not take this code or these samples as something that has already been vetted. You got to make sure you cover that and do the testing on your own behalf.
Nice. Yeah, that kind of leads right into my next question. So, what are some of the steps organizations can take to ensure that using these assistants don't introduce major vulnerabilities or defects?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, I think all organizations need to take a moment and sort of, if they haven't already, really do some thinking and really get a strategy around what AI is going to mean to their business. How are they going to use it? What are the benefits that they're looking to see? And then around that, create clear, articulated policies that they can share with the rest of the business, how they're going to enforce those policies and make sure that they are enforceable. That's certainly sort of step one. Step two, you got to make sure that you've got those pieces in place. Once you've done that, assuming that you're going to use things like AI coding assistants or integrate with LLMs or AI models, which we see a ton of businesses doing, now you need to actually think about how you're treating the information coming from these, right? And what we tell people is treat those tools like really talented interns, right? Somebody who's really effective, but they're maybe not super reliable. So we got to double check what they do. We got to make sure that the testing and the practices are all in place to really vet and make sure that we're not letting new risks into our software and impact our customers in that way. And I would say the final thing that companies should really be doing is, make sure you understand what regulations exist or are coming. We're starting to see AI-based regulations popping up in different industries, automakers for one, certainly an area that we probably want there to be regulations. And, it's an evolving space and you should make sure that you understand for your business which regulations are coming, what's currently there, and make sure that you have your compliance and all your processes in place to be able to adhere to that.
That's great advice, Corey. Thank you so much for joining me today.